Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. LT in the saddle. I'm alone again. Sam has left me. Sam's getting ready and pretty for the Mountain West Conference tournament in Las Vegas and the NCAA Tournament next week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, especially if you're watching on our YouTube page as we grow and go. You know, one of my favorite teams, obviously I live in Akron, so why wouldn't I? But I will tell you, it's the best ticket in town and one of the best coaches. If you don't know about Coach Groce, you need to. One of the hottest teams, 25-6, 17-1 in the MAC. We got Coach John Groce, the Akron Zips, on the show. Coach, welcome back, man.
No, it's great to be on. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. You're not drinking coffee, Coach. You're always drinking coffee every time I see you.
Got it right here. There you go. And I probably should be drinking water with this voice I have right now, but can't help myself.
Yeah. Well, you're still. I can't imagine you're any quieter in practice or a game. Let's be honest. But Coach, man, I'm really impressed. You've had probably easily the best year in Akron basketball history. Obviously, probably one of the best years you've ever had in coaching. You know, is there another year you can kind of compare to this year with the team?
It's a great question. Not really, because, we had a great year, obviously, in the Sweet 16 run in Ohio, but we didn't have any seniors on that team, and it was a different environment, college basketball was at that time. What's unique about this team is we brought in 9 new players, which is incredible. To think about Freeman, Ali, Greg, Sammy, Caleb, those seniors last year that are the all-time winningest class in the history of Akron basketball. So when they exited and graduated and then became pros, I think the natural expectation of others was probably forced to fall off a bit when we lost that much production. But give the guys who return credit. They improved tremendously. They've done a great job for us. And then our additions, both transfers and freshmen, have done a great job for us. So
yeah.
Took us a little while to figure it out, but once we did, we've played some good basketball.
Yeah. But if I asked you in the beginning of the season, you were going to be 25-6, 17-1, having the longest current winning streak at a certain point during the season, what would you have said to me?
Well, during non-conference, I certainly wouldn't have thought that. So, obviously I had a chance to work with them in the preseason. I thought we could be good, but it might take us some time. I use the analogy. We have a great men's soccer coach here at Akron named Jared Embick, and a phenomenal program. And I watched him with a new roster kind of go through some struggles early, and then they figured it out like they always do. They've had an amazingly consistent and successful program. And I watched all that and thought, that's probably going to be us, because we're going to play a schedule that's harder than, what we played here other than last year. It was our second hardest schedule. We got 9 newcomers, and it may take us a little bit to figure it out. But if we could figure it out, I thought we could be really good.
Yeah.
I was hoping sooner than later, but I don't think we really hit our stride until about that second week of conference play. Then I think guys started to be a little more confident in their roles, trust each other a little bit more, trust the new system that we were playing, which was completely new for even the veterans. So it took us a little bit of time, but I thought we had a chance to be good.
Yeah. What I love about your team is balance. I feel like that's kind of a common theme, especially in your second go around in the MAC. After having a successful tenure at OU, you're just balanced. I mean, you're 10th overall in scoring, 84 points per game, 17th in the rebounds, tied for 3rd in assists. You share the ball, field goal percentage. I mean, you throw up a lot of threes. I remember I was at the game where you shot 45 against South Alabama, and I think I asked you that comment. You're like, we should have shot 50. I mean, you're tied for 63rd. I mean, Nate Johnson, you got the Johnson brothers, no relation, obviously. Maybe you should just recruit everybody with the last name Johnson. 13.5, 12.8. You got 2 with 9, averaging 9, and then like you got 3 guys at 7. Like, I asked you what the recipe is, but like, was this kind of the idea of kind of just like, and I feel like Nate didn't have the greatest, well, I shouldn't say that. Nate had a really good game against South Alabama, but not on the scoring, but assists. I think he had 10 or 11 assists. I feel like you've got a roster that is so balanced that if 1 or 2 guys are having a bad game, 3 or 4 are going to pick it up. I mean, there's even guys I'm not even talking about, like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th on your bench that can pour in some game. I mean, you've really got a nice balance. What does balance mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's been huge. We've, used the Golden State Warriors phrase, strength in numbers, and that's been the case for us because you really don't know where it's coming from on a given night. We're just going to play the right way, share the ball, execute, play as fast as we can, try to defend our tails off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we've done. Obviously, rebounding, we've been good as well. Second in the league in defensive rebounding percentage when it all ended. And I believe 3rd or 4th in offensive rebounding percentage. So we've been great on the glass. So I think our consistency has been due to what you're saying. And that is that we're not dependent just on 1 or 2 guys. So that allows you to absorb maybe a night that a guy has where it's a tough night. Because we have so many guys that can play, can score, can play different lineups. We can play big. We can play small. Gives us a lot of versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything because come Thursday at 11 a.m., 25-6 doesn't mean anything. 17-1 doesn't mean anything. 4-game winning streak doesn't mean you're playing the 8th seed. You had an interesting game. You came out. Gritty is a word I've always thought about your coaching style, both on the sidelines and your team. And you got a gritty win at Bowling Green, 71-68. They're the 8th seed. I mean, what are you expecting? 11 o'clock on Thursday, man. You're the number 1 seed. They're put you at 11. You got to be on prime time, coach.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's something I don't control. I've been asked a lot about that. So that's right. The time of the game. We got to be ready to play.
It is what it is.
What I will tell you is that, we were fortunate to win that first league game against Bowling Green. I mean, they led for 30-some minutes of the game.
Yep.
We pulled it out at the end. We had some guys make some big plays, got some big stops. And it was a great win for us. A gritty win is a great way of putting it. Mm-hmm. But I thought they outplayed us. We're both completely different now than we were then. Obviously, it's 17, 18 games ago. They're playing a lot of zone. At that time, they weren't. Their zone has been very effective. In the 5 games, they predominantly played it here down the stretch. It's been great. They're getting a lot out of Marcus Johnson and Campbell, contributions from others as well. They got the number 1 shot blocker in the league in Felt. They got the number 1 steal guy in the league in Campbell. So they're very active defensively, hard to score on. And then Todd does a great job of running stuff that puts you in predicaments that play to his players' strengths. So it'll be a huge challenge. I think it always is. You have to really approach it in these conference tournaments 1 game at a time. And the way they've been playing in the last 5, it'll be a great challenge.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, you've obviously the Quicken Loans or the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, whatever you want to call it, has been very kind to you. 2 out of the last 3, have been the NCAA tournaments. What is the message that guys like Nate Johnson, Tavari Johnson, Scott, Lyles have kind of said to the newer guys about the experience? Because really it's the MAC tournament. You got to win over 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is those guys know what we do systematically in this situation, and that's take it 1 game at a time. We could care less about the rest of the bracket. Our focus is on Bowling Green State, period. Mm-hmm. And I think those guys have lived that. I know they have. And so they're able to transfer that mentality, I think, to the newcomers, which is a good thing, because that's how it's got to be. You can't think about, you're right, 25-6, 17-1. They can talk about that later, but it has nothing to do with Thursday. Everybody's 0-0 in season 3, and you got to take it 1 game at a time, 1 day at a time. And I think those guys, because they've had success thinking that way and seeing that executed, that hopefully that's an advantage for us.
Yeah, yeah. How much have you talked to your brother about Bowling Green?
I haven't. We talked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously I love Trav. They had a great year,
Yep.
phenomenal year.
Awesome.
Great team, great players. But yeah, we haven't talked here since the bracket's been out. But we talk every once in a while, for sure, but not about Bowling Green to this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I thought about some of these brothers we've had on the show, in separate occasions. So I've got two boys, and my middle guy's very competitive, and one of his best friends is on his AU basketball team, and it's kind of the same sentiment to his little brother. And I said, do you like when he does well? He plays, and so he's like, no. I want to play more and I want to beat him. Like, so it comes because I'm a younger brother. So it comes to fruition and stuff like that. But how much are you guys balancing now? And I don't want to talk too much about this, because I want to focus on the current situation. But, the landscape of college basketball is changing by the second. We know that. The transfer portal is coming up, I think, in a couple weeks. People are declaring. How much are you guys, maybe your assistants like Dustin and the other assistants, Robbie, how much are you guys looking at the transfer portal right now for next season?
We're looking, obviously when names get entered in there, we have a process systematically in which we evaluate each prospect that's in there. And that kind of starts that process. But yeah, we look at it. We're aware of it. And like you said, it is the current framework in which college basketball lands right now. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for us, we went with a blend. We've signed freshmen and they've been great for us. We've signed transfers through the portal and they've been also great for us. So we signed 2 freshmen in the fall that we're super excited about. And now we'll start to tackle the portal here in the spring based on what we need.
Yeah.
And try to put a roster together year in, year out that has a chance to compete. So to do that, I think you have to be on top of it almost 365.
Yeah. And it's like I don't even feel like you can enjoy the successes in the season because I always feel like you're always looking ahead. I mean, we got 7 teams already that have punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament. I was talking to Lenny Acuff, who you probably know.
Oh, sure.
And a great dude. And he's, made it to the tournament and a lifer like yourself. And he's like, we're talking about the transfer portal opens up and people are committing and we're still during season.
Yeah, no. I think they took a step in the right direction by moving it back. I think what could happen is they may move it back even more.
They have to.
At least maybe till, after the weekend prior to the Final Four.
Yep.
If not after that.
Yep.
Obviously, there's some pluses and minuses that they're, researching and looking at as to how that affects everybody before they make a decision like that ultimately.
Yep.
But there certainly was a push to move the date back. That happened. And I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to have discussions about pushing it back further.
Yeah, it has to, because listen, the NCAA tournament, and we've talked to many people. I mean, Keith Gill's played at Duke. He's the vice chair of the NCAA tournament selection committee, the Sun Belt commissioner. He said, we agreed. It's the greatest sports event over a 3-week period, I think, in the history. I mean, you've been a part of it and you know it.
Sure,
absolutely. I know it wasn't Division I, but it's still like, so let's not take away from that. So I want to ask you 4 quick questions. We usually do, this little section called the shot clock, but I don't want to waste your time. So I've got 4 quick questions and I'm curious the answers. And one I know you're really going to like. Okay. 1 word to describe the MAC tournament.
Competitive.
Yep. Okay. 1 word to describe this year's team.
Cohesive.
Okay. I like that. So I know we all know that you're a big Starbucks guy. So they've decided to do a specialty Starbucks drink after Coach John Groce. What would it be called and what would it be made of?
It's a great point. I get the same drink every day. So in fact, you can see, I'll put this on your show. They usually send me a nice message that they put on the drink for me on the cup. And Sam is the general manager or the GM there at the Starbucks in Fairlawn. And so I have those baristas. I always tell people that the following women are the women in my life: my mother, my sister, my daughter, and the Starbucks baristas. So those are I know all of them by name. But I get the same drink. I get Pike Place with vanilla syrup, 3 Splendas, and a splash of non-fat steamed milk. So that's my drink every day. I walk in and grab it through mobile, say hello to everybody. There's a great crew in there. A lot of those guys and gals have become season ticket holders.
Yeah.
I get to see them at the games. I call it my Starbucks crew. They keep me sane.
I love it. I love it. Next time we interview, we should go live from Starbucks in Fairlawn.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
I mean, let's do it. So last question I want to ask you, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this, and this will really give us kind of a look into who John Groce is. What is the song that best describes you?
Wow, I've never been asked that before. I've been asked who my favorite artist is because I love music, love concerts, love a ton of musical genres, listen to about anything. Let's see, what would be? It's a great question. The song or artist? You're saying
song that best describes you. If there's one song that pops out in your head that says, like, for instance, God, what were some of them we've had? Here's a perfect one. Danny Hurley is Tom Petty, Won't Back Down. And that was proposed by his son, Andrew Hurley. Okay.
I like it. So mine would probably be Jason Aldean, The Only Way I Know. So there's only one way I know how to do something. And that's everything I got, to everything that we do. I think how you do anything is how you do everything. And so hopefully our players learn that from being inside our culture.
Yeah.
We call it being an Akron guy.
Yeah.
The only thing we expect them to be is an Akron guy. Yeah. What is that? Someone that gives everything every day to whatever it is they're doing.
Yep.
So obviously in order to get that out of your guys, you have to do that yourself. Yep. So that would probably be the one I pick.
Yeah. And they got to love ball, coach. They got to love ball. You remember that? They got to love ball.
You don't want to earn a degree, compete for championships, be developed, and love ball is a big key to that development. Yep. If you don't love it, it's hard to be developed. Those are some of the characteristics we look for. And if those things don't matter to you, then this is probably not a good place.
Yeah.
For those people that it matters to, this is a great place to be.
I got a song for you. DJ Khaled, All I Do Is Win, Win, Win is all I got. Yeah. But but that's great. I'm going to give you the last, 30 seconds, minutes. What can you say to the boosters, the fans, people coming out to the MAC tournament, the Zips faithful? What you got for them?
Well, I think, first of all, you're watching a team that's special. We mentioned earlier how cohesive they are. The way they represent the university on and off the court, academically, how they conduct their business, how they play the game, their unselfishness, the sacrifice they've made for each other to be a part of this special team. To me, that's unique in today's environment. So I'd hope they come out, obviously, at Rocket Arena and support these guys, starting obviously on Thursday at 11. But I'd also say to them, thank you, because they've been tremendous all year. Our home crowds down the stretch were phenomenal. We got great support from our city, our community, the university, the athletic department, student body, the AK Rowdies. And so hopefully we'll see all those people at Rocket Arena on Thursday at 11 a.m.
Yep. Coach, you're going to stick out to us for one more second, but, we really appreciate it. Check out the Akron Zips Thursday at 11 a.m. If you can't make the game, watch it, DVR it, whatever you have to do. It's going to be a really good game. You got 8 really good, talented teams in the MAC. check out the MAC this weekend, and follow the Akron Zips and Coach Groce. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Follow us on all our Instagram and Twitter handles, and subscribe to the Full Court Network on YouTube. We'll be back next week on another show. Actually, we'll be back in 2 days with Lenny Cuff on the College Basketball Coaches Show, simply known as the Full Court Press.